We've got this. This is what Precipic linked. Basically, it's just, you know, give it all. It's like Riven Draven. We play for a bit of an aggressive game plan. It's give it all with some of the Noxus tools instead of some of the Targon stuff. It does work. Wait, give it all works on survival skills? Wait, it says keywords. Is it? But this isn't a keyword. What? It does work. It works on Tarek. There's a video on Reddit. I guess it's just Riot wording. Okay. I guess it works. Yeah, I don't know. I think Give It All is a pretty sweet card. I'm not sure that it wants to be in Noxus. You can run Give It All in a few different regions. Reforge is still sick with Give It All. Yeah, it's not bad. It's oftentimes, I mean, depending on exactly what we, you know, the speed we want to play at, we might only be able to use it once or twice. But I'll try it. Callista. Yeah, I mean, I just keep Riven and kick the others. I think we just pass on that. So Callista Freljord is, so it's just Endure. Okay. Endure's actually pretty good against like anyone not running Targon right now. Endure has pretty sweet matchup tables into anything that's not just like spamming Hush. And even if they have Hush, like aggro versions of Endure can do fine against that. But yeah, Endure's very good right now. It's very low key of a deck. Gives permanent even if the bearer only has temporary keywords. Yeah, exactly. That's the one nice thing about Give It All. Even if you give it a temporary keyword with like one of the hills, it'll turn this into a permanent keyword for all your units, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to have a great attack here. We can just open Riven. So Riven actually does, if we're not attacking with Riven this turn, she's actually getting less value than potentially bot if I want to use the augments. I think the augments doesn't matter as much here. And depending on what he plays, I could play the Riven. It's actually a little close. But I mean, we know we're going to want to play the bot before Give It All anyway, right? Ballistic bot is nuts with the Give It All. Yeah, bot makes Give It All kind of crazy. This deck plays for Overwhelm on Give It All instead of potentially Elusive. I think this kind of identity of a deck might end up being the best way to try to, you know, competitively run Riven. That's very possible. And we can pass here. Yeah, so there's not really, because we're not really looking to attack with Riven here, there's not that much pressure to play her early because she obviously gets per turn value, but only when I gain the attack token. So I can play her on a defensive turn and then get the same attack token that I would have gotten by playing her here, right? Play Riven on 4. Yeah, exactly. The one downside of this is we're kind of committing to play her on 4, but that's fine. If we want to, we have Give It All on turn 5. In all likelihood, in this matchup, in this board position, we're going to be using Give It All on turn 7, trying to push lethal that turn. If we Give It All on turn 5, we don't have the ability to combo it with any of the swords, which is not really what we want. So if we're trying to kill him on turn 7, that means we have to survive 2 attacks here. Riven is an easy play. It's basically a forced play. And our Riven can just block the Mistwraith for free. I don't mind that. Ooh. I think I always let that hit me, actually, then. That's a really weak attack, buddy. What was that? So I can either Ignition or take the aggressive Rummage here. Ignition is not actually doing enough. I think I actually take the Rummage here. I think we can kick... Well, Neandroid gives everything elusive, which I think is actually pretty important for this. I so feel like I have to Rummage this turn, but I have no idea what the second discard would be. I don't think I want to discard Hilts. Maybe I just Ignition. The Ignition is the safer play, all things considered. Runeweaver? Yeah, I could have discarded Runeweaver. So it's our turn 5 attack. Again, Give It All cost 8, and we've banked 3. So we could play it this turn, but because we have, you know, no real pressure here, we need the temporary keywords off of these Riven hilts and off of probably the Neandroid as well. That's what we're going to be using to give it all for, so we need to wait 2 turns for that. So we can play Neandroid here and the Rune Weaver and then discard Ignition plus X. Seems fine. If he had Endure in hand, he would attack with more units. Yep. I mean, I think that slow attack can only be not having Endure. I think most hands have to attack with more units there unless I'm missing something. And I think I just play the Rune Weaver here. I'm pretty happy to, you know, get more fragments. In this case, we need to bank mana aggressively. I don't actually think I'm even valued into this rummage unless I'm missing something. So I think I can just pass, right? I guess, I mean, I can attack with Neandroid. Is there a downside in getting this 1 damage in? I can like Ignition and attack with the Neandroid, try to deal 3. If I'm attacking with the Neandroid, it's probably worth the 1 minute to take the Ignition there. And Give It All is permanent, so in theory, I could actually use it on the defensive turn sometimes, but off of his open attack, we're definitely not doing that. We need to play around with Atrocity here, so the most important thing is to just make sure we're not dying to that for no reason. I think honestly going down to 8 is perfectly fine here. I don't actually really see a reason I have to do anything else. I think I can just play the Riven Blade before I Give It All. Am I missing something? He's not running like a Pale Cascade. He doesn't like trick out into Atrocity here. Yeah, I just take the solo block, I think. Battle Fury. Ah, yeah, some of them run Battle Fury. Yeah. I do have to play around that a bit. I think I can drop this too. The 1/1 does less, sure. He could still have Battle Fury and then Atrocity next turn. But that's, I think, a little too difficult to play around at that point. So we're losing 2 units. We do want to replenish those. It is pretty important having a 6-unit board, especially since we're just trying to kill him from 20. Paused a bit there. I mean, his deck doesn't really have great counters to what we're doing here, right? Weapon healths. I think we might just go in for the Blade here, right? So if I hilt, that's going to be 2 mana, and then the Blade is going to be 6 on top of that. And then I'll have not enough mana for response. So it can only work if I don't Urchin, and not Urchining isn't worth it. So I never go in for the full Blade. So yeah, I can just rummage away both hilts. Yeah, that's fine. I'll rummage away both hilts. The Blade this turn, unfortunately, isn't quite worth it. If we had slightly more pieces or slightly more mana, it could be. But it's also a little bit of a commitment anyway, because it makes us a bit more vulnerable to Atrocity. So the hilts aren't doing anything here. Second Give It All is actually a bit funny. Could I ever need 2? Pretty sure I just discard the other one. Hilt isn't part of it. It sometimes is. You can push a little bit of extra attack, but in this case it's not now. Yeah, I think I'm always discarding the other Give It All. We do want to search into another option as well. Ballistic is solid here. There's one consideration, which is like keeping Rummage up in case we draw Survival, but it's just not worth it when Survival's not already in hand. I removed Tilt from this deck. Yeah, I think if we're doing the Give It All game plan, I think Hilt is pretty unnecessary here. We've got enough Reforges for Riven to level up anyway without Hilt. So next turn, I've banked the exact amount of mana so that we can play both Fragments and Give It All. We've got Overwhelm and Quick Attack. Okay, we can pass here. You want to Give It All first and then play both Fragments? Wait, what? Wait. Am I missing something? We can't cast these in response to Give It All. And I must be missing something here for augment buffs. But if I... Oh, so it's +1 to everything instead of the Overwhelm. If I Give It All right now and he just like kills my Neandroid though, then I need the Overwhelm. So I think do I just do Overwhelm first? Do augment it as +2/+0? I mean, I can't let my Neandroid die on this. He'll Ruinate. Guys, his deck isn't running Ruination. I think I just have to Give It All after. I don't see why I would Give It All before. If he kills that one bot, I'm actually okay with that. If he kills this, I'm actually fine with that, because if he kills this, then I have the elusive anyway. So I'll do it like this, so that if he kills one of my units on the stack here, he, at most, my units are still 4 attack. I have either elusive or overwhelm. This is kind of like the safest way to do it. His best kill here might be this bot, which is, you know, overwhelm and the highest attack, but then I still get elusive and 4 attack on everything, which is enough to kill him. All right, buddy. Looks pretty good. Great buff running. I think that was optimal. There might have been something else. We cry when Ruinate. I mean, it's an Endure deck. If he's running Ruinate with these cards, then he deserves the win. Why does everyone, they just see Shadow Isles and they're like, well, it could be Ruination. I mean, if he's running Ruinate and Endure, then he's just a Mega Mind. Whee! Alright, GG, buddy. Nice try. So yeah, a really important thing here is just thinking about the game in terms of, you know, clock, in terms of setup. Knowing that we had to play around to give it all on turn 7 and just prepare for that in the most way possible. Because we know we're attacking odds here. His deck Endure usually tries to kill on like turn 8 or 9. So this is kind of like perfect right before his window comes online. Yeah, that's nice. And, you know, in different situations, we might be able to give it all on like turn 5, but not here. That would be a good way to, for example, play around Ruination. This is burn. Discard should be favored into burn. This should actually be an ass pounding. Aggro beats burn every time. Well, I say every time. Ooh. I mean, it's a solid opener. This is almost a full keep, but I always kick rummage here. We're attacking odds. I can keep give it all here. I think the way this deck is built, it actually, I don't know. Maybe keeping give it all is trolly. Now that I've got crowd favorite and other ways to win, I guess I have to stop keeping give it all in this version of the deck. I do. Did Burn ever play Jinx? It was experimented with for a very brief period of time, but no, Jinx is not a burn card, really. It has been run. It's not the worst thing ever, but ooh, I kind of wish I could kill that. Burn played Jinx, but it was bad. Yeah, exactly. Bad versions of Burn mess around with Jinx for a bit. Well, I mean, we're putting some heat on him, and we are threatening the turn 5 clock. The scary thing, though, is without Overwhelm or Fearsome, our units aren't really doing enough with the Give It All. So we just bank full mana next turn, and then we've got Give It All Jury Rig. If you look at our curve, next turn we Jury and float 3, and the turn after that we Give It All on the triple banked mana, right? So we are threatening him on this clock. But again, our elusives are not elusive blockers. Our elusives don't kill him through elusive, because we don't have any way to beat his poros. But yeah, I mean, I think he just dies here. I think we're onto something here. This actually feels really competitive. The survival skills is hot. Yeah, survival skills is pretty sweet here. I agree. You right. So I always just play the jury rig manually from hands. I mean, he's gonna attack me either way. And I mean, my health doesn't matter. I'm at 18 health and I'm killing him on turn 5. Burn is a pretty slow deck. I mean, they kill you on turn 5 or 6 a lot of the time, but they're very slow. He can't deal 10 this fast. Yeah, so we just block this and basically just kill him, right? Neat. Alright, cool. Is this better than as Draven? Hard to compare. They're very different decks.
Time for the money makers.
So he takes an aggressive axe. I'm pretty sure he still can't kill me this fast. Yeah, he can't kill me this fast. This looks bad, but I mean, when you look at the situation, like really look at it. He's got 5 mana, and we've got 6 health, and we're killing him this turn. So, I mean, we're just kind of good. Like, he didn't have enough mana to kill me as fast as he needed to. So now, survival skills allows us to beat him through fervor, through get excited. Survival skills is hot here. It is very, very, very sweet here. And he has to kill the Draven. I'll do the Poro emote preemptively, so it's not as much of a slow roll. He knows he has to kill the Draven here. I'll GG and then show it. Ah, that's so crazy. I mean, it is the best survival skills deck. Like, this deck actually uses survival skills in a really, really important way. Oh! Out of here, dude. Me too, buddy. Me too. If I wanted to, I could make these all 5 attack with my other axe, but that's just rude at that point. It's a 0 mana deny. So the thing about survival skills is really important is the fact that it's 0 mana. It's not a great card in and of itself in terms of what it does, but it can protect strategies that don't have the ability to normally protect themselves because of their mana points. Give It All has always been vulnerable to that because you have to use Give It All early and it taps your entire mana pool out. Like, you almost never can save mana for this card because you want to be using it on like turn 5, 6, 7, or, you know, with combinations of other cards. And this deck is able to fit in survival skills in a way that protects against a lot of things. We're still losing to Ruination, and, you know, something like Harsh Winds and Vengeance and Hush can still sometimes disrupt it, but it's super, super important in a game like that. Still not sure about the Riven package. This deck needs to be running Crowd Favorite. It needs to be running survival skills. Could actually be a 3 of, but 2 I'm happy with. We've got a lot of draw. Keep that in mind. So 2 of is going to feel more like, you know, 3 of in a different deck just because of how much draw we have. The Blade of the Exile Runeweaver package is okay, but it definitely doesn't feel core here, right? You know, if you look at a game like that, and I can't state this enough, I really like Teemo in this deck. If we look at a game like that, if we don't have that Poro Cannon thing, we do need that elusive. And we cut the Nyan Cat. But yeah, I think this deck kind of teaches a very important lesson to players, like playing out this deck. And you'll see if you're watching me play this deck, you'll notice this, which is that it's so important to be thinking about the game in terms of clock, right? You have to be thinking about the game in terms of setting up the kill on the turn you want, looking at who's attacking on evens and who's attacking on odds, making sure that you are surviving the exact amount of turns without, like, you can't sacrifice resources too aggressively because then you lose your kill on that turn. And, you know, it's all about time to kill, right?